So Lola is sometimes dog reactive when out on walks. So I'm going to go over a technique that my mentor came up with. She wrote a book called Feisty Fido, Help for the Leash Reactive Dog. Feisty Fido is the title name. I'm not sure what the subtitle. Her name is Karen London. Anyways, what Karen's technique is to teach the dog to look at the human in the face rather than looking away from another dog. So to teach this, what I'm going to do is I have a handful of treats. I use the Tricky Trainer liver flavor that I went over with you guys earlier. I'm going to keep the handful of them here, and I'm going to have one in this hand. Lola, come. Come here. Sit. So I'm waiting for her to look at me in the face before I give her the treat. I'm a penny of the penalty for your shake. Watch. There we go. So I transfer another one. I'm waiting for her to look at me in the face. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Watch. Watch. So now she's starting to key on my face a little bit, not as much as I'd like, but we're working on it. So she's staring at my handful of treats because now she knows where the treats are. Watch. Now if you notice, I'm holding it up between my eyes and her eyes because I want to maintain her face looking at my face. I prefer to have her in an SIT while she's doing this rather than LAY, but this will work. Watch. So I'm kind of slowly starting to extend the length of time that I'm delivering it to keep her there. Now the first couple times I delayed just because she kept on doing the paw thing. Watch. Watch. So see how now she's starting to give her look up at me because she's realizing that's what's getting her the treat. So what you want to do is you want to practice this in the house when at first I do it when it's quiet, but we have a little baby noises going on, and eventually with TV and other stuff going on, but the dog is just right here and there's no other dogs around. So what we do is we keep on practicing this until the dog starts immediately looking up at you. And then we're going to hold it here. Watch. The second it touches her lips, she needs to hear the word watch. And we're going to gradually increase the amount of time. So it takes about maybe 2-3 seconds before we deliver the treat. So what we're going to do is keep on practicing that in the house until she's just looking up at you and not really staring at your hands. Then what we do, and you could use this in your backyard because you have, well, I'd have to look at your backyard, but what you're looking for is a place where there's a clearing. Let's say there's a path right here that dogs are walking by, but there's trees on this side of it and there are trees on this side. So I have kind of like a triangle of view that I can see right here. So I put my dog here on the leash, and then I wait for a dog to come in. It's helpful if you can kind of see through the shrubbery over here and see, oh, there's a dog coming. So as soon as the dog is about to pop out, I have a treat here ready, and as soon as it's about to come into view, I'm looking at my dog. As soon as Lola lowers her head and starts staring at it, I say, watch. And she sits down and looks up at you, watch. And we get her to look up at us. Now for dogs, this is confrontational, this is approachable, but dogs only focus on one thing at a time. So if another dog is walking nearby and she sits down and turns sideways to the dog and looks up at you, she's not challenging that dog anymore, which a lot of times will calm down the other dog. But it's also taking that dog out of her line of sight because now she's looking at you. Now at first what's going to happen, as soon as the dog comes around the corner and she sees it, you have to say watch to get her to look at you. This is why we practice the watch inside, and we associate the word with the action. So when she hears watch, she turns up and then the treat is delivered. Then we take the next step and we go outside, and as soon as she sees the dog, but we have to make sure the dog is at enough of a distance. If the dog is too close, she won't sit or take the treat. If she won't sit or take the treat, she's telling us the dog is too close. So keep increasing the distance between her and the approaching dog until she'll stay sitting and take the treat. Sit, watch. Now what's going to happen is eventually, after doing this enough, she's at the same distance. You're going to keep on practicing it until she sees another dog and immediately looks up at you before you say watch. So after you do maybe the first dozen or so times, you're saying watch as soon as she stares at the other dog. But then you're going to wait like half a second before you say watch. Give her a chance to look at you. When she finally does look at you, Karen calls this the auto watch. So as soon as the dog looks up at you, you say watch, watch, and like feed like 10 treats in a row. You know, the dog would be like, oh, what did I just do? I just got like 10 of these great treats. What did I do? Well, what it is she looked away from the other dog voluntarily, looked at us, and we paid her like crazy. So what we're trying to establish is a new behavior that when she sees another dog on a leash, instead of lunging at it, she sits down immediately, looks at you, and looks away from the other dog. Because she can only focus on one thing at a time, it's out of her sight. And now she has a new behavior to engage in when she sees another dog. Rather than fixating on him like she was at doggy daycare, she sits down, looks up at you, and waits to get a reward. So that's the watch, and that's Sam. And so again, I would suggest practicing the watch inside different rooms and different times of the day with different distractions and things that are going on, gradually with the TV on and volume on. Can I have that, sweetheart? You probably are not going to want to eat that. But the idea is gradually make it more and more challenging inside, so that way when we go outside and there are sights, sounds, and other dogs, she's conditioned or been trained to look at us. So that's basically how you do the watch.